Hey, welcome all you triathletes, swimmers, riders, and runners, newbies and 10-timers, 8-hour finishers, or 16-hour survivors. This is the MultiSport Mojo podcast. We're age group gurus doing the homework, gathering the insights, answering your questions to make you faster, fitter, and fresher in multisport training, and especially on race day. I'm your host, Steve Harper, with MultiSport Mojo and TryGearGuru.com, and alongside me is my good buddy, Ironman certified coach Kirk Taylor.
Yo.
Kirk.
Hey.
Hey, remember to subscribe to our MultiSport Mojo YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter at MultiSport Mojo. That's all one word. And go to TryGearGuru.com. I have Thursday mouth.
TryGearGuru.com.
Wow. Thank you. I appreciate that. For all your triathlon questions, running, go to rungearguru.com.
For all your voiceover needs, see Kirk Taylor.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's pretty clever. This is going to be a good podcast.
They're always good. What are you talking about?
Hey, biking, go to ridegearguru.com, and swimming, go to swimgearguru.com. We'd also like to thank our sponsors, Try Hard Triathlon Coaching. Contact Try Hard on their Facebook page at Try Hard Coaching. AZRadio.live, your home for independent music artists, and Big Mike's Recording Studio.
Big Mike.
Contact Big Mike's Recording Studio at AZRadio.live and get all the polish of a professional recording studio at a price that fits your startup budget. Kirk.
Hey.
How are you?
Awesome. It's been a while.
It's been a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
It has been and a lot has happened in the last couple of weeks. At least in the multi-sport world, we've had the Boston Marathon. Mm-hmm. What a finish. Did you see the finish? The men's finish?
Amazing.
Wow, that might be the best finish ever. Maybe not the most popular finish. Des Linden last year, popular in the rain, that was finished. Meb, that was popular from the American side. That's 2 American winners. But you couldn't to have that race finish that close. That was like a horse race.
Yeah.
That was pretty fantastic. The Ironman Santa Rosa was last weekend. We've had Ironman the Oceanside 70.3. There's been quite a few races. You've got Ironman Ironman Texas, the full, which is the North American Championship, is either this weekend or next weekend, I think. So cool. We're in the middle of racing season, in the spring racing season, and everybody right now is signing up for fall races.
I think we
just signed up for the St. George Marathon this week.
Yep.
So with that in mind, today we want to talk about the fall race that you've got coming up. Now that you've signed up for it, now that it's on your calendar, on your radar, you can start to get serious about it. So today's topic, the top 3 things you would suggest in order to PR in your next marathon. For us, it would be the fall marathon coming up with the timing. But the top 3 things you would suggest to PR in your next marathon. How's that sound?
Or half marathon.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think my suggestions apply across the board, actually.
Full.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Same.
But we're kind of talking marathon, longer distance today. Yeah. Marathon, half marathon.
Yeah, I would say it's a distance race. Not that these wouldn't apply to a 5K or a 10K. Certainly, same principles. But I think these would apply more specifically to distance races. Whether it's a marathon or half marathon within an Ironman or half Ironman race, or a marathon, half a marathon all on its own. You ready?
Yeah, so you signed up for your... we signed up for St. George.
Yeah.
The marathon, the full marathon.
Together.
First weekend in October.
Right.
What else we got on the calendar?
We've got a full distance triathlon. We would call it if our own Ironman.
Yes.
But timing doesn't work out for us for Ironman Arizona, so we're going to do it on our own.
Yes.
Our own swim, full distance. Our own ride, full distance, and finish it off with our own run.
Yep.
And I told my wife, I said, here's the swim. We haven't decided where the swim's going to be, but the run and the ride will give us an option to come by a couple of locations for. So if you could help manage some of the inventory on water and Gatorade, and she looked at me like, what? Not only do I have to come out and cheer you on, I have to support aid stations now.
Yeah, she'll be an aid station coordinator. Yeah.
So one aid station is going to have to be by my house. Yeah.
Okay.
And I think your wife, one aid station, may have to be by your house.
She'll go anywhere.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, she'll
Karen
try.
was like, yeah, well, just you better train hard because I don't want to be up too late.
Oh, jeez. Tell her she can run one of the bike aid stations. She can call it a day,
You better run hard because I don't want to be up too late.
6 p.m. or something.
Oh, man. I know, right?
Yeah.
So I think this is going to be a PR from you.
Yeah.
in a full.
So if our listener would like to join us on this race, I don't know if we have more than one listener. So for you, kind listener, gentle listener, if you'd like to join us,
a growing podcast.
Okay.
I don't know how many. I think more people watch us post than live right now.
Yeah, sure. So all right. So can I use the plural then?
Absolutely.
Listeners? Okay, cool. Right on. So, listeners, if you'd like to join us for this full quote Ironman, obviously this is not an Ironman sanctioned or branded race. It's not a WTC race.
But people are more familiar with Ironman as a full distance.
Yeah, exactly.
Event.
So if you've always wanted to do an Ironman and you didn't want to pay, $700 for the entry fee, or you wanted to do it on a Saturday in Arizona, Saturday before Thanksgiving, we'll be putting out more info on that in the coming weeks. Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty low key. There won't be race support. We'll have some aid stations out, but
there's no police. There's no insurance. Yeah, it's a do it at your own risk, baby.
It sounds like people will be like, you guys are crazy. But hey, listen, Ironman Arizona,
it's a
the
long
timing
training
doesn't
day.
work out for us this year. So we're doing it on our own.
Well,
I would rather do it on our own, right?
Yeah, well,
Than
first
not
of all,
do it at all.
Arizona's really hard to get into, number one. Number two, it's on a Sunday, and we try not to do Sunday races. So there you have it. So we've created our own. It's the Phoenix Full. At this point, that's the working name of the event, Phoenix Full.
Yeah.
So
You got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
You got to start somewhere. Up in North Phoenix.
That's
That's
right.
Nice. Well, the last couple of years on that weekend for Ironman Arizona, the weather's been a little wonky. So I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful, right? So it'll be fun.
It's going to be fabulous.
It'll be fun.
Yeah.
We've already started training.
We have.
As you can tell with the Pringles in your hand.
And these were on sale at Walmart.
Okay, are you ready?
Yeah.
I'm interested in what your answers are going to be. The last time we
Back
did
to
this
the topic.
format,
Yes.
from a coach's perspective, from an experienced age grouper's perspective, we attacked this a little differently.
You're going to love this from a coach's perspective.
Oh yeah, I'm just gonna feel guilty from the first answer that you give. And I'm betting
You
ice
might.
cream. I'm betting ice cream is going to be.
You actually
one
might
of the
feel a
answers.
little guilty
Yeah.
with this answer.
Okay, so who's up first?
It's entirely possible.
Jimmy behind the glass, our producer. Who's up first, Kirk or me?
Yes.
Okay.
Here. I've got a coin right here. I actually do have a coin. We can flip a coin. Yeah.
People, you have coins. I'm not sure the last time I actually carried a coin.
This is what you get when you have to pay 97 cents for a refill.
Okay.
You get 3 pennies.
Well, I'm curious.
All right, here we go.
Yeah.
You call it. Here we go.
All right, well,
or we'll let
heads.
Jimmy call it.
Oh boy.
No, you have to call it because then.
Jimmy, what's?
Okay,
Does it
so
work?
let's do this. Heads, Steve goes first. Tails, I go first. How's that sound?
There's a fantastic
Does that work, Jimmy? Here we
funny
go.
in there that I just can't go
Okay.
for.
And it's tails. I guess
All
I'm
right.
up first. All right.
The guilt trip. Here we go. Kirk's number one answer. Now this is great. New for us. It'll come up on screen. I'm so excited for this.
Yes, this is my number 3. All right. This is my number 3. I'm starting
We're
with
gonna go 3, 2, 1.
Yes. So number 3 suggestion that I have for a PR at your next race or at your big race. All right. Number 3 is run with a faster group.
Ah.
So it was going to be run with a group, but if you decide to start running with a group,
You're ditching me at the next marathon. Is that it?
well,
Or I got to pick
no.
it up in training.
You just need to run with the group that's going to help you run at the pace that you want to run at. Okay. So Find a good group. There are groups all over the place. And I've talked in the past about my experiences with the Phoenix Tri Club. And join a tri club or join a running club, whatever. Most tri clubs will have long runs, at least once a week, right? And great opportunity to get out there. And obviously you're going to have people at a variety of paces. So if you're trying to run, let's say at an 8-minute mile, you're going to find people that can run at an 8-minute mile and can put in a long run at that pace.
Right.
So it gives you an opportunity to have some peer support and to push yourself to maintain that pace for that distance.
What if I don't join a group? What if I'm just solo, or if I'm running with buddies and I get to race day? What can I do?
That's okay. You don't necessarily have to implement all of my suggestions.
No. How do you feel about pace groups at a race?
At the race?
Yeah.
I got no problem with joining and hooking onto a pace group.
I think those are good. I'm actually a big fan of those as well. What do you think about finding somebody that's running about the same speed as you, hustle up alongside them and say, hey, how's it going?
Yeah, I mean, as long as they're amenable to it, right?
You don't start to bother them?
Yeah.
Get away from me.
And you don't ask her for her number.
Why do you keep asking me questions?
Right, yeah, exactly.
Stop it.
Yeah, if you're
no, you can't have my M&Ms.
Right, and you're not serenading the poor girl, you know.
Get away from my Lay's sticks.
Right.
You?
So.
What do you think we're...
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, hey, this happens a lot with an Ironman, for example. You know, people are always chatting during the run.
Yeah. Well, it's really from an emotional. I mean, it's great to have a buddy going your same pace to help one another out. I think in marathons, more in particular, we have a training group that we run with, and we try to stay together to help each other along. But at some point, the group starts to break apart, and you start to find your own speed.
And it really kind of depends on what your objective is. If your objective is to set a PR, you kind of have to either find the people that are going to help you run that PR and they'll stay with you, you know, until whatever. Or if your group is not at the PR pace, you just have to accept the fact that, all right, this is fine. I'm not going to set a PR today, but at least I've got friends to do this race with, right?
And you can decide. I don't think you have to decide that necessarily, even until you get into the end of the race. I mean, you could have the goal to PR, and you got to see what the day brings, right? I think that's happened quite often. And I'll tell you, there have been races where I think, well, I'm having a pretty good day. I wasn't really planning on gunning for a PR, but I'm having a pretty good day. Guys, I love you, but I think I got enough in the tank to make this happen.
Yeah, that can happen, sure.
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay, find a faster group, or find a group that's going to run the same pace that will get you to your PR.
So really the suggestion is to run with a group, but find the group that's going to work for you.
Would you
run with the right
training group. And race day?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm talking about training, preparing for how to get that PR. Get a group, find a partner group, whatever it is, that's going to help you run at a faster pace.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this is good. My number 3.
All right, you got Steve's ready to pull up there, Jimmy? Okay, good.
Okay, here. So my number 3 is to get a little more intense on your training. Right. So if you have a serious goal in mind, I think you can't go into it with the same training that you've done in the past, right? You can't do something different and expect the same results. So I don't care where you find, if it's joining a group to amp up your training, if it's finding a training plan online, you can find those at rungearguru.com or trygearguru.com. You can find run plans, and then just amp up the mileage, but that are at different levels. I think you need to incorporate tempo runs and long runs, and you got to get serious. And if serious means you give the group to go faster, if serious means you get yourself a watch that you can start, or something that you can track the data so that you can begin to measure yourself, whether it's, you do Nike Plus with the phone and the Nike or the Apple Watch. Those are great, and that's great. So you need to intensify your training to get serious about it. Mileage, data, diligence. I'm okay with sleeping in every once in a while, but you got to be on it. You got to be on it and dedicated. PR is not just going to happen.
So bump up the intensity.
Yeah.
You put a whole lot under that umbrella.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to leave room for ice cream for my number 2 answer.
Okay.
Which it's not. Okay.
Yes.
Sorry. Oh, I'm good. I'm going to kill him afterwards, but I can't.
All right.
All right. So number 2.
Are we ready for my
Kirk's
number 2? My number 2 suggestion is keep track of your progress.
Oh.
Record your data.
Spoken like a coach.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Because how else are you really supposed to know? I mean, I suppose if you have to time it. You got to keep track of your progress. Okay, cool. Hey, what was my average pace today? Oh, well, it was a 9:30. Okay, great. I got to run a 9-minute mile to set a new PR. So if I'm not putting in runs at 9-minute miles, I'm not going to set a new PR. It kind of goes along with what you were saying. You know, you can't keep doing the same thing and expect a better result.
Right.
So one of the things to do differently to set that PR is to make sure you are keeping track of your data.
Yeah.
Record your runs, right?
What does that do? What does that do for the post run, and then what does that do into your next run? What does that do as you look at your training?
Well, one of the great things that I've done over the years that has really motivated me is I've kept track on a spreadsheet, and I've said, okay, so this is my lost dog loop, for example, trail I used to run. This is the short neighborhood course. This is the long neighborhood course. This is the Circle K and back. This is the 6 mile. Here's the 13-mile run. This is up to the 101 and back, for example. So I have all these runs, okay, all these loops that I can choose from that I'll run, say, and I'll work through each one of those, depending on what the plan is, whether it's going to be a 5 mile or an 8 mile or a 10 mile, whatever the run is, say. And so then you record the date and the time that it took you to run that thing. And then it's really cool because you can sort by time and you always know, all right, well, what's my PR on this loop, or what's my PR on this course, right, for this run in particular. So you always kind of have that, oh, hey, cool, and so as you're kind of keeping an eye on your clock, it's like, oh, wow, cool, man, I'm going to beat my PR by 20 seconds today. I just ran this loop. I just ran this 3-mile loop, 15 seconds faster than I've ever run it before.
You're engaged in your training with every run. You're not just getting up to do a 6-miler. We'll see what happens today.
Right. No, you've got a measuring stick every single run, right? When you go out there and okay, my best time on this run is X. Well, maybe today, and you're not necessarily trying to go out there and set a new record every single run. That's not the idea. You've got to vary the intensity. Every now and then, yes, you're going to say, okay, today's the day I'm going for it. Okay, today is the day I'm going for it. I'm setting a new PR on this run, on this 5 mile or 10 mile, whatever it is. But it's really cool. Sadly, Nike Plus doesn't do this anymore. Nike Plus used to have courses that it would know based on your GPS. And it would say, oh, it looks like you just ran the short, and you could call it whatever you wanted to call it. It would say, oh, it looks like you just ran that long course again. So I don't know what's out there right now on the market today that will allow you to, do you know, like customize? Didn't you just do a thing on GPS?
Yeah. Well, and all the GPS watches, smartwatches. I mean, GPS and smartwatches they're starting to call one of the two, but the Suunto watches and the Garmin watches.
I think Strava does it. Doesn't Strava do it?
Strava's great. I love Strava, but I use Strava for my rides, not for my runs.
Right, same.
So Strava will identify, this is the loop, and start to categorize stuff.
And little segments, obviously, within that loop, and how
competitively with on your own
and
PRs
how you compare to everybody else. Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe you use Strava for your runs or something. Yeah. But anyway, yeah.
Some data to stay engaged.
So that's number 2. Track it.
Okay, my number 2. This won't be a shocker. My number 2 is it's about your gear, and specifically it's about your shoes. I think up until 3, 4, 5 years ago, the tried and true advice for distance runners was find a comfortable pair of shoes. Mm-hmm. Whatever works for you, works for you. If you want the big, thick midsole, if you want racing flats, if you want the same shoe that you run with in training to run on race day, if you want to run just find a pair of comfortable shoes. Nike's, Asics, Mizuno, didn't matter. you just find a comfortable pair of shoes. That's changing, and mostly because of all of the technology that's coming out and becoming available for the shoe on the uppers. Here, I'm gonna sit. Would you hold that for a sec? Here, I just so I can illustrate for if you're watching. Right. So I think it matters on the upper. Right. That's everything above the midsole, and then the midsole, and then the sole. Right. So you've got these three parts of a shoe. The uppers. There's all kinds of different material. The new Nike Zoom Flies like this use sailcloth. Sailcloth.
In case you didn't know, Steve is pretty geeked out.
Well,
with his new shoes.
We
told you the story. If you didn't catch the story about the new shoes, you have to go back and listen to a previous episode.
Well,
here are said shoes.
Yeah,
right?
It's one of the seven pairs.
Yes, exactly.
Right. Mm-hmm. So just for example,
you cleaned out a Nike outlet.
I did.
Completely cleaned them
out.
Wow,
right. So the uppers are changing. The way the laces just don't go straight down the middle of the shoe anymore. They're more biomechanically designed to go with the flow of your foot. The midsoles now the foam in midsoles doesn't just absorb your energy. They used to be the conventional thinking was we want a really cushy midsole. Or foam in the midsole. But when you do that, the foam needs to be able to come back. And the faster it can come back to its original shape, the more energy is returned in your step, making that basically like a trampoline. So the technology in the foam has really skyrocketed the last 3-4 years. And then the sole itself, making these softer shoes more durable. You used to be able to get a really nice pair of distance running shoes, but they wouldn't last for anything. I would say, listen, I think the Ultra shoe, the Ultra brand shoe, the Zero Drop, and the way that they've got it biomechanically designed was great. But we would destroy them at like 150 miles, right? The soles, they would be destroyed. So shoes like the Nike Zoom Fly or the Nike Pegasus Turbo, which is a great training shoe. The Nike Pegasus Turbo has this midsole that gets really compact for cushion and then springs back to its shape. And so you get all of this wonderful energy return.
No wonder I'm so dang slow.
No, right. And so if you trained in for it, here's a great combo. Thinking about shoes that you don't just run in the same shoe for training and on race day. If you train in a shoe like the Nike Pegasus Turbo, you get that cush and the energy return. And Nike's, because of Breaking 2, they've redesigned all the distance running shoes, so the narrowness and the toe box, those issues are gone. You just need to make sure that you size up like a size, almost a size and a half sometimes. Usually in a running shoe, you want to get a half size larger than a regular shoe. Nikes, you want to go at least a size and sometimes a size and a half, just to make sure that you get the toe box. And then on race day, you run in one of the racing shoes, like a Nike Zoom Fly SP or a Nike Vapor Fly 4%, or they just introduced the Nike's Vapor Fly Next Percent. And these also, with having that same cushion, have a carbon fiber plate. You don't want to run with a carbon fiber plate all the time because it's too aggressive and you can kind of risk injury. But on race day, it gives you stiffness to really kick you forward. So you've got the energy return, you've got all the support, you've got the kick. If you have a serious pair of shoes along with the training, man, it's going to make you faster.
And right now, kids, at rungearguru.com, you can get all these shoes that Steve is talking about for 90% off for the next 60 seconds. On your marks, get set, go.
Man. Holy cow. I'll tell you what I do, though, is I do all the homework.
This is only if you're listening live. If you're watching this on YouTube after we've already done the broadcast, sorry. The 90% off sale already came and went. It's only for live listeners.
I know you're joking. But in all seriousness, I really do the homework so that you can hit those links and find the best prices on shoes. You don't have to pay at retail. You can go to the Nike store. Here, one thing Nike has done, you can't buy the Nike Pegasus Turbo.
What's the promo code for that, Steve? The 90% off?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I am a doofus.
No. Yeah, I wasn't going to fill that in. No.
So you just type that into the promo code.
Stop.
I am a DOOFUS.
It's a crazy person sitting next to me. Hey, listen, get yourself a really good pair of running shoes. And I would highly recommend a pair for training and then a pair for race day and amp up your game. Okay, that's my number 2. You ready to go for number 1? I'm interested in number 1 to see if it has anything to do with Bluebell ice cream.
It does, actually.
It does.
All right, you ready with the number 1, Jimmy?
Number 1.
Number 1, drum roll. If you want to set a new PR at your next race or at your next big race, my number 1 suggestion is run faster. Mic drop.
Okay, explain.
Run faster. What does that mean?
Explain run faster.
This kind of goes along with what Steve was saying for his number 3. Run, and that is, you can't just run at the same dang pace that you go out every run, every day, and you just kind of do your thing. You have to pick up the pace. You cannot expect to go out there on race day and all of a sudden magically put your race day shoes on and expect a PR. If you haven't been training faster, you're not going to run faster come race day.
So explain that. Explain why.
Because you've trained your body to do a certain thing.
Bingo.
And your body just isn't going to do something more or better or stronger just all of a sudden this one day.
I love
because you're surrounded by 6,000 people who are also doing the same thing, or
now,
because they're offering you orange slices every 3 miles.
Yeah. This I think is kind of it's not, I shouldn't say it's a funny thing, but you see people, you hear, hey, what are you going to run today? Dude, I don't know. I mean, I got a 350 in me. I got a 340 in me. Well, good luck. Have you been training for a 340? No, but this is a fast crowd. I'm gonna go. And so
this is a fast course.
This is a downhill course. This is a fast crowd.
Come on.
I think I'm gonna run a 340. What have you been running? I don't know, 8, 9, 10 minute miles.
10-minute miles.
We were in
10-minute miles. That's a 4:30.
We were in an expo, one of the race expos we went to, and they have the speakers and they take Q&A from the crowd, and I still remember a gal raising her hand and saying something to the effect of, I'm planning on PRing tomorrow. How do you think I'll do? Big, open-ended. And the guy said, well, I don't know. I mean, what have you been running and training?
How much time is this course going to take off?
I know, right?
My average pace per mile.
She said, he said, what have your splits been? She's like, I don't know. And the crowd, I think we tried not to laugh, but we said, PR ain't happening. It's not happening.
Yeah.
I love that you're saying if you want to run a 340 on race day, then be running those splits in training.
That's it.
Right?
Yeah, you got to keep track. Yeah, if you're trying to qualify for Boston and your qualifying time is 3:10, well, you better be able to run 7-minute miles. If you're not doing 7-minute miles in training, if you can't turn in a 15-mile run or an 18-mile long run at a 7-minute mile, don't plan on doing that come race day.
Do you think it's something you build up to? At about what point, if my race day goal is to be running 7-minute splits, evens?
Yeah.
About what in my training, when should I be consistently knocking out on 7-minute splits? I mean, you got tempos and you got long runs, you've got different kinds of runs, but something where I can measure a split and have confidence in that I can do this on race day. When should it be halfway in? Should it be in the beginning? Should I peak at 7-minute split? What do you think?
That's a good question. I don't know if I have a really good answer for that. Maybe a month or two at least. You need to be able to feel comfortable, or relatively comfortable. I mean, let's put it this way: a longer race is not necessarily going to be comfortable, and when you're going out after a PR, it's quite possible that there will be some discomfort. But to have the confidence that, okay, I'm going to hit this time that I'm shooting for, you better be able to go out there and just nail those splits with any run that you do.
Confidently, not comfortably, confidently.
Yeah.
Well, I guess there's some comfort. I mean, you know what it feels like. You know when the pain's going to come.
You absolutely have to know what it feels like.
You won't be in a brown van at mile 6 because you jumped out at 7s.
Right, yeah. Yeah, you've got it, so if you're saying, hey, I want to run a sub 4, okay, that's a really common goal. All right, well, you better be able to run a little better than a 9-minute mile. Every run that you go out and do, unless it's just a real relaxing recovery run, any run where there's any intensity or intentionality with your run at all, better be at a sub-9 pace, right? I mean, you can't just go out there and lollygag running 10-minute miles week in, week out, run in, run out. You'll have to step it up, right? And dial in that pace with every run, and you should be able to maintain that pace. I'd say at least a month, if not a couple of months before your race, especially if we're talking about a marathon, because you're going to have a taper in there, maybe a week or two before the race anyway. So, you've got to give yourself time to ramp up in terms of total mileage and speed, I'd say at least a good couple months before the event, if not sooner.
Yeah, I agree.
So there you have it. Run faster.
I think that's great.
I know it seems a little snarky, but
no, it's not. I think it's great.
Okay, what's your number one?
My number one does have to do with Blue Bell ice cream.
Oh,
yeah, it does.
Oh,
my number one is, I don't think anything happens until you do this. I don't think you can get serious about a PR until you do this, and that's, you got to lose the weight.
got to get the nutrition dialed in.
And so it has everything to do with if race day weight is 165 and you're 185 at the beginning, you got to get serious about knocking the weight off. Otherwise, it's going to be really hard to get faster if you're not lighter. If you're lighter, you're faster, and that means your weight. It means your shoes. It means the gear you wear. If you're lighter, you're faster. And then as you're getting your overall body weight down, dialing in your nutrition so that you can run it that way. Both what you're eating every day. I'm not going to tell you to get on a keto this or to get on a celery drink that or to stop eating, to only eat eggs and bread. I'm not going to tell you how to do it. I know for me, the really easy thing for me to do is to cut out as much carbs as I can. Don't snack as much. Cut the sugar and the soda, and then I do a half plate. Whatever I would normally eat, I go to a half of that when I'm in race mode to cut the weight. And then my weight's good. And then I know that when I'm running, the nutrition that I take can sustain me during runs. Whether it's a goo that I take or the drink mix that I have. Or,
I don't like doing this with you.
Or whatever, right? So you got to drop. So if you're serious about PRing, if you're not, bring on the bean and cheese burritos.
Apparently I'm not.
Bring them on. Bring on I can't say what we were joking those, right? Bring it on. But if you are serious about PRing, the first thing you got to do is drop the weight.
Yeah.
And then you can get serious about those 7-minute splits.
That's assuming that you've got some weight to drop.
Yeah. Plus, you're avoiding injury. So, how many people do we know that get 3 months into a 4-month training cycle? You're ramping up those longer miles. They're faster splits, and you get injured. Being lighter helps a lot of that. A lot of that.
Right there. You heard it from Uncle Steve.
Right.
Put down the ice cream.
Push away the Lay's stacks. Oh man. Yeah. All right. So my top three were
to be hard.
My top three were lose the weight, get down to your race weight quick, get serious.
That's the number one. That's your number one suggestion.
That's my number one. Because I think it's the first thing you have to do. Man. Number 2, get yourself a really good pair of running shoes or the 2 training and racing shoe combos. And then number 3, you got to get serious about training, your training plan, and the diligence behind it. Okay, your top 3 were, again?
Number 1, run faster. Number 2, track your progress. Keep track of what you're doing out there, kids. And then number 3, find some people that run faster and run with them.
I think I think that's all good advice.
Yeah.
So are we going to PR? Here's the $1 million question. We just signed up for St. George in the fall. Are we going to PR?
Uh-huh.
It doesn't matter what.
For me, it doesn't take much to PR. No, for me, the PR would be a 348.
Oh, wow. Okay,
yeah,
well, this is good.
347.
My PR's at 349.
Okay.
All right, so we're on it.
Mm-hmm.
So we could actually run together.
We could.
Training and racing.
Yes.
As long as you don't drop me like a box of
But supposedly
leg
I got to
stacks.
lose some weight. Actually,
Well,
not supposedly.
hey,
Really, I do have
two
to
of
lose
us.
some weight. It's ridiculous.
Well, any last thoughts as you
Oh,
jump
man.
into a PR?
Hey, let's not forget what this is all about. It's all about, because we can knock ourselves over the head and get all depressed. Oh my gosh, I'm not getting any faster. I'm not losing the weight, and then it just is, because sometimes running can be painful and a little miserable. So let's just kind of keep our eyes focused, maybe a little bit longer term. If you have a week that, maybe things aren't coming together, or you feel sore, you feel fatigued or whatever, that's all right. Just, stay focused. Try not to eat the entire bucket of ice cream, I'm still struggling with that. But let's try to find the joy in it. All right, let's try to find the joy in the running, in the journey, and the little successes that we have along the way. Because not every run is going to be miserable. It's not all going to be painful. It's not all going to be horrible. You are going to have a good day where you have the discipline, where you don't eat half a bucket of ice cream that night. So take some pride and a little bit of, find some joy in those little successes that you have along the way. I had one this morning. When we showed up at the pool, I thought, okay, I really don't want to be here. This sucks. I really don't feel like swimming right now. So I'm just going to swim until I don't feel like swimming. And then I'll do poles, and then when I don't feel like doing the pole set, then I'll switch back to the swimming. And I don't really care when it ends.
But you were there.
Yeah, I was there, and
finished.
I thought, and you were kind of feeling tired, and so I was like, I really don't even care, because I really hardly don't even want to be here right now. Well, then I got going, and then to compound it, I'm feeling this pull, on my side. There's like some pain in my side, and so I just couldn't pull the way I wanted to. So I'm thinking, man, this really stinks. I'm just gonna have to swim. So I thought, well, what the heck? If I'm just gonna sit here and swim. I'm just gonna keep going. And so ended up, this isn't like super long swim, but I thought maybe I'd be lucky to get in 1,500 before I just kind of threw in the towel. Ended up doing 2,500. I was really happy about that. It wasn't fast, wasn't really super strong, but it was more than I thought I was gonna do. And so I thought, hey, that's cool. So that's what I'm saying. Find the good, find the silver lining.
I like that.
Yeah.
When I think about my best running days, I don't know if I think about time necessarily. I think about being out with my buddies and swapping stories and feeling good. And feeling good means we're feeling fit, and the miles are going by fast, and we enjoyed it. Those are enjoyable runs.
Yeah. Well, here you go. Here's to you. Cheers to you. Right there. Got the big chug jug here today, as always. Here's to you, all of you who are out there, whether you're hoping to set a PR or not, or whether you're just trying to get off the couch and get your butt moving. So here's to you. Cheers.
I like it. Well, and we'll see you out in St. George. If you're at the St. George Marathon this coming fall 2019, look for a couple of PRs coming your way. We're going there. All right. Hey, we want to thank you for tuning in. Remember to like us on Facebook at MultiSport Mojo. That's all one word. Follow us on Twitter at #MultiSport Mojo, and go to trygearguru.com. That's TRIGearguru.com for more content and insights and great prizes on everything triathlon. Hey, thank you to our sponsors, Try Hard Triathlon Coaching, AZRadio.live, and Big Mike's Recording Studio.
Big Mike.
This is the MultiSport Mojo podcast, and we'll see you next time.